Alright, thanks for tuning in to Hanson Speed Shop. A while back I did a review on one of these Matchbox 32 Ford pickups, and I told you guys that I was going to be doing a custom out of one eventually. So today is that day. I've already got this thing drilled apart, so we're going to pop it apart now. I've never really taken one of these apart. This is the first time I've ever done one, but these have opening doors on them. And then it looks like this fender slash interior is one piece. And then we have a chrome chassis. We'll get those wheels popped out of there. And then it looks like this grill just snaps in there, so we'll get that taken out as well. The plan for this truck is actually we're going to be able to cool 60 style gasser out of it. I've got these cool Hot Wheels rear rider wheels, which I've used on some other builds before, and these actually come on the Hot Wheels 55 Chevy gasser. So that is the plan for this build. So stay tuned for a super cool 32 Ford pickup gasser. Alright guys, I'm going to try to demonstrate this on this video. If you're ever wondering or having trouble with taking your axles off the base itself, this is a pretty simple thing. There's just these little 3 prongs that hold the axles on, and for plastic base cars, this is how I do it anyway. I've got this little screwdriver. It's just a flathead screwdriver, a real small one. You can also get ones like this, a little bit bigger, but this is an old one, and the metal is just a little bit stronger, so you can pry a little bit more and it won't bend. What I do is I just kind of take the flathead screwdriver and then I stick it under the axle, and then I just try to pop it up out of those prongs. And then it usually just pops right out. You don't even bend it or anything. In the front, we'll get under there. So just pop it out. I sometimes kind of do a little bit of a twisting motion, but just trying to be careful to not bend that axle. And there we go. So we got that out and we're ready. I'm not actually going to be reusing those prongs because we're going to be making this into a gasser, like I said. But otherwise you'd want to not damage those so that you can snap your new axles back in. Now if you have a metal base, those are a little bit more tricky, and you're going to want to get one of these little snippers here, and then you have to actually come in and snip them prongs, which is kind of a pain in the butt. But you got to snip those prongs just right, because there's a real tight clearance between those and the axle. And once you get those snipped off, you can pop your axle right out. Now if you're not really planning on reusing the axle, you can just cut the axle, and but if you are trying to save the wheels or take the wheels off to use on another project, you have to snip those prongs off, and that's the only way on a metal base to get the axles off. So I hope that was a helpful tip, and we'll continue along with this build. Okay, so if you were kind of wondering like what I meant by we're going to be turning this into a gasser and how that's going to work out and look and stuff, this is kind of what I have in mind. The back wheels are just going to actually sit in the stock location. I might have to trim these fenders out a little bit or something to get those big slicks to fit. And then the front, we're just running underneath the chassis with a straight axle. Pretty standard gasser, but this is kind of the look and the stance that this truck's gonna have. Another little tech tip, I guess, what I normally do is I'll just put the axle kind of where I want it, and then just a little piece of tape to hold it, and then that can kind of give you an idea of if the stance you want is going to look like how you want it, or if it's going to fit or what you're going to have to do to make it fit, or if it's even going to look right or whatever. So just kind of put your axle where you want it, a little piece of tape, and then set it up and look at it and see if that's what you're after or not. And then you can go from there to figure out how you're actually going to make that really work. So that is the truck so far. Also, these doors, these opening doors, there's just this little metal band here. It clips in, and then this goes against the hinge on the door like this right here. So this just pops out. You can just pull it out with like a pliers, and then your doors can just come right out. So that's pretty simple. And then this grill, it did just snap in. There's like a little clip on the back here. So that is the truck so far. We'll get the thing stripped, and then we'll kind of go from there. The plans are really all we need to do now is get the truck stripped, paint it, detail it, do that straight axle up front, and then I'm going to do a set of fender well headers, and that should be about it to do a cool 60s style gas rod on one of these 32 Fords. So that's going to do it for now. And the next step, you'll see that this truck's stripped and a little bit more mock-up, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we got the 32 Ford truck all stripped apart. As you can see, it's looking really cool. Everything that was die cast has been stripped, the doors and the body. This is all one piece like we talked about earlier. So basically we are to the point now where we're ready for paint. I haven't decided on a final color yet for this, so you might just have to wait till the end of the video to find that out. Otherwise, pretty much all of the modifications to the truck are, I mean, basically we just have to glue the axles in, and then I'm going to make some fender well headers for it, but otherwise we're not really doing any modifications other than I mean, it wasn't really in need of anything. It came from Matchbox, super cool like I said. So basically all we need to do now is just paint it, detail it, and put it back together, and this thing's going to be done. So we're gonna, once I get what color I want to paint this thing, and then I might show you guys that, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so we're back on the Matchbox 32 Ford pickup build. Got the thing all painted. It turned out super cool. I wanted to do kind of a 60s show car color on this thing. I wasn't really sure what I wanted. And then I went with this color, which is actually a Model Master color. I believe it's called Citrus Yellow or Citrus Lime, which it doesn't really look yellow or lime really at all. I guess kind of a pearl lime. I did it over a silver flake base, and it turned out really cool. I'm super happy with this. I'm thinking what I'm going to do on the interior is we're going to do a two-tone seat. So I'll maybe leave like the centers, this body color, and then do everything else in like a satin white, and then detail the steering wheel, and then we'll just leave the dash and everything, and the bed. I might do these strips, the center strips chrome. Otherwise, that's going to be about it. We'll detail the door handles, a little bit on the body. So then essentially all I have to do now is put the chassis together yet. We have to do a straight axle up front, and then we're just mounting the rear axle in the stock location, and then we'll detail and paint that up, and then I'm going to do an exhaust for it, and that's going to about do it for this build. So it should be pretty cool, and then we'll see you at the final unveil. Alright guys, it's time for the final unveil on our 32 Ford pickup from Matchbox. As you remember from the beginning of the video, we started with the gold 50th anniversary super fast version of this truck, and it turned out super cool. So here it goes. Hope you guys like it, because I am super happy with it. I think that it just turned out awesome. I love the color on it. By the way, this is the color that I used. There's the number on it. Citrus Yellow Metallic from Model Master. And that was done over a silver metallic from Testers. Then I went over the top of that with a clear. Turned out super awesome. As you see, I detailed the interior out in a two-tone body color in satin white. Did the steering wheel in satin white, and detailed out the tack on the dash. The wheels came out looking really good. Did some cool headers on the truck out of aluminum tubing, and I did those in a satin white also. I left the base of this truck just all chrome because I thought it looked really nice with this color green, is to have the nice chrome base and grill, and the wheels and everything really give this that kind of 60s show truck look that I was going for. And it kind of makes the chrome pop, and vice versa with the color. So I think that worked out really well. The grill is just the way it came from Matchbox. I detailed out the door handles, which is kind of hard to see. And then I painted all those little metal strips in the bed silver. Did the taillights. Did that straight axle up front like I talked about out of a piece of aluminum tubing. Pretty simple build, really. I didn't have to do like a lot of modifying to this truck or anything, but sits really cool. Just a super neat truck. I've liked this truck since the first time I seen it hanging on the shelf. Just the way it comes from Matchbox is cool, but this one's equally cool. Hope you guys dig it. If you do, comment. Let me know what you think. Give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, highly recommend it, because there's a lot more cool stuff like this to come in the future. Otherwise, stay tuned for some neat pictures of this truck in action. Otherwise, get out, work on your own projects, share your projects with other people, because that's what this is all about, is doing cool stuff and making sure that, you know, the community of whatever it is you're into stays alive. And that's only going to happen if people, you know, just take the time to share stuff with people, not for money, but just for the love of it. And that's what we're about here. So, again, get out, work on your own projects, get your hands dirty, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.